Hi, welcome to Off Script. I'm Zach Lewis.
And I'm Dr. Draper.
Today on the show, happy St. Patrick's Day. I think I got that right on the calendar. More importantly, the Oscars. The Oscars happened. Good God, they already happened. You already heard about it. They went on Sunday. We're doing the show on Tuesday. So no surprises here. But we're going to talk about the year. We're going to talk about some big hits, some emotional moments. Did Sinners get snubbed? We're going to talk all about it. One battle after another, taking away 6. Sinners taken 4, some big victories in the evening. Very excited to talk about the Oscars. Got some great coverage. We got footage. Guys, it's going to be sick. Great Oscars coverage coming. Stick around for it. We talk about Undertone. Yeah, that new A24 movie, Undertone. That horror about the podcaster who's hearing weird noises on the podcast. So she starts flipping audio around and starts hearing weird things in the house. Yeah, we went and saw it. Small, it's very small, micro budget movie. $500,000 it cost to make. Open at $9 million this weekend. Excited to talk about Undertone. We're going to take a really quick look at a couple other features. We didn't mean to pack it in this week, but we did. So we're going to take a quick look at Gore Verbinski's Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die, film from last year that we missed starring Sam Rockwell. Wacky sort of sci-fi movie about cell phones and AI. It's a dark comedy. Excited to get into it. And also, Andy took a very brief look at this 2023 feature called The Pope's Exorcist, which is a Russell Crowe movie. He plays exorcist to the Pope. It's a horror film. He says it's way better than you'd think, and I thought it was a totally different Russell Crowe movie called The Exorcism that came out in 2024 where he plays a washed-up actor. This is the longest intro I've ever done in the history of the show. We're going to look at Dune. Dune Part 3. We have a trailer for Dune, a teaser. Dune! Whoa, there's a Timothee Chalamet chance. We're going to talk about it. We got footage. We're excited to check it out. Before we get to everything, a quick look at the news. This is an action-packed episode, and I'm excited to get into it. First story this week, Amazon Prime is getting more expensive. Wah, dude, shrinkflation is coming for all of us, and it's starting at the streamers. What's going on, Andy? We're all going to start paying more at the pump or at the remote. Why? What's happening?
So a little history on the Amazon Prime streaming service. So it was that you paid a flat rate of like $12 to get Amazon Prime, the delivery service, which also came with Amazon Prime Video, their streaming service, with a bunch of shows, original TV and movies, as well as the ability to rent things. And this was a pretty great deal for a long time. And then a couple of years ago, they didn't make you pay more, but they gave you ads at the price point you were already paying. And if you wanted to not have any ads, which you originally had, you had to then pay a premium, $3 extra on top of the $12.99 or whatever. They are raising that price again to an additional $5 on top of whatever you're paying for Amazon Prime. And they're also doing away with 4K streams if you just have the regular ad tier Amazon Prime. So you're paying the same but getting less, or you're paying more and paying more.
I've been saying for a little over a year now, dude, I think Amazon Prime is really slipping in value to a point where it is kind of generally getting to not be worth it. There was a time when Prime's like primary benefit, you order stuff, it comes in 2 days, you get free 14-day returns, was kind of the money, but pretty much everything on the site operates that way now. And if you order $35 worth of anything on the site, you automatically get those Prime benefits, membership or not. So what are you paying $190 for? Prime Video is pretty sweet and it's a big library, but it's full of ads and it's only getting worse. Anybody who's been watching Invincible or The Boys, you watch any films over there, you're seeing a lot of ads. You're seeing a lot of ads and they're pretty consistent. So having an ad-free option is nice, and only making it $5 a month on top of your subscription is nice, but 5 times 12 is $60 a year for no ads on Prime and 4K, which like, I don't even know if they're actually streaming at a bit rate of 4K or if it's like fake 4K, because that's a
Probably
thing.
not.
Dude, like this is so not worth it. I think Amazon Prime may not be worth it at its base subscription anymore. I think this is definitely not worth it.
It's disappointing that, again, these services just keep getting more and more expensive. I finally was able to cancel my Hulu. I got into a mess with it because I had changed my Hulu, whatever I was on, but I was out of the country when I did it, and then I could not cancel it because of that. I had to like get on a VPN and change my location, and was finally able to cancel Mexican Hulu. But these services just get more and more expensive, and I think people are consolidating. I think people are dropping them. I'm at a point though I cannot deal with ads, and Amazon Prime, they would have so many ads, and they would cut right in they arbitrary places in whatever you're watching. They weren't very smart. The thing was Invincible that I was trying to watch, and I was like, I can't do this. Which Invincible starts this week, so I'm super excited. But yeah, they just keep getting more expensive.
Yeah, maybe the money is like you sign up for this extra service when you want to watch a show you're actually interested in, right? Like, hey, if you can just do it for an extra $5 a month this month and watch Invincible, get no ads all the way through, and then the off season like reduce, maybe that's something. But yeah, Prime is kind of, I don't know. I feel like they have that like annual price, and I just feel like it's kind of sold as like it's not an annual service, but it almost feels like it to a lot of us. Like Prime is just one of those things you kind of pay for once in the year, and then you're set. That's the best way to save money. And like, I don't know, man. I don't want to be anti-consumer or anything. I just said like, come on. You order stuff on Amazon now and it doesn't come in 2 days. It used to. Now it's like 3. Like, it'll be there tomorrow night sometime. Like, I don't know, man. I'm not into it. A Quiet Place. We have an announcement about A Quiet Place, the horror film. There's another one coming. John Krasinski tweeted this the other day. This got picked up by the trades. We have a story from Variety. We got some cast, we got some crew, and we have a release date, allegedly. What do you know about it, Andy?
So very cryptically on John Krasinski's Instagram. I love how that's how things are announced. But he posted a picture of scripts that just said 3 on them and his name and a date of July 30th, 2027. So the following summer. And then he had names on everyone's script. And it was something that we knew, Emily Blunt, not John Krasinski because he doesn't survive the first one, spoilers, Millicent Simmons. But we had the addition of newcomers, Jack O'Connell, Jason Clarke, and Katie O'Brien, who we love Katie O'Brien, and we love to see her career on the rise. So this is exciting. We're maybe going to get a little bit more action. Jack O'Connell continues his incredible run in horror, of course, from Sinners and also 28 Years and Days Later. So it's an exciting cast. It's a long way away. They're just going to start production on it in the next couple of months, and it'll be out in summer 2027.
Yeah, Variety noted here that on Instagram when Krasinski announced it, he set the post to the Hamilton song one last time, suggesting that this might be the final chapter in the Quiet Place kind of saga for a minute. I think it's definitely Krasinski's off-ramp because he wants to do other stuff for sure. So I think he's going to be involved in this one, and then Emily Blunt's going to be in this, and then they're probably going to bail on that, kind of wrap this main thing. But certainly a lot of potential for more storytelling in this universe. We saw this with A Quiet Place Day One, and more importantly, with the box office returns. I got it here. Quiet Place, the first film in 2018, made $341 million, which is a hit, which of course warranted a sequel. Part 2 gets $297 million, pulls in just like $40 million lower. And then Day One, the kind of spin-off starring Lupita Nyong'o, got $262 million, which is another 30 down. So some diminishing returns here. That's not that crazy in a horror franchise, but certainly no ramp up. Like, it definitely looks like things are going down. Perfect time for Krasinski to make one more big one. I think putting Cillian Murphy in this movie is smart because that's technically a buff for people who want the next 28 Years Later movie to go to theaters. I think getting him in horror in theaters in the next like year or two would be wise and might help convince Sony like, hey, Cillian's already going to be on posters. He's already going to be in trailers. People who are seeing horror movies are going to be seeing him. It seems like there's a real good crossover to get that new 28 Years Later movie out. So like, yeah, it's great all around. Jack O'Connell is a great get. Jason Clarke's going to be in here. I wonder if Jason Clarke's going to get eaten by a zombie in Quiet Place Chapter 3. If anybody in the cast is, I'll bet it's him for reasons on my own. But exciting. Are you looking forward to this?
Gosh. Yeah, I've been a fan of these films. They're fun. It's a bit of a gimmick, but it works really well. The first one's very emotional. I don't really remember what happens too much in the second one. The spinoff, the prequel, worked really well as well. So I think it's a great time. Summer's a great time for horror. We'll definitely see it and check it out for the show.
It's funny. I thought a lot of A Quiet Place when we were watching a film for the pod this episode, Undertone from A24. Different, of course, obviously, but kind of audio-based, right? Promises an experience unlike any other to heighten your senses using a little bit of, old-fashioned audio hucksterism. Excited to talk about Undertone after Oscars here in a minute. One more story from the news. This one comes at us from the box office. Man, Pixar's Hoppers is just continuing to crush. Meanwhile, a small rom-com that you and I totally just ignored and have not talked about once on the pod is pulling some good numbers.
Right. So Hoppers had a great second week with 28.5 million. Has hit 164 million globally. It continues to be not quite a hit, but really solid for Pixar. Disney, there looks like it's going to have legs. There's not a lot of competition until like the Mario Brothers movie next month, so they have the runway for kids and family. And number 2 came Reminders of Him, which is Colleen Hoover book slop adaptation starring podcast favorite Micah Monroe and one Tyreek Withers that we saw in Him earlier in the fall. These Colleen Hoover adaptations of a previous one was It Ends With Us, which starred Blake Lively and has now turned into a huge lawsuit with Justin Baldoni. It's a whole celebrity war battle over that property and a huge scandal. But that film was incredibly successful, and these Colleen Hoover adaptations just kind of can't miss. The Housemaid was not her, but it's in that same vein. Bookslap wins at the box office, so that's doing pretty well. That's made 28 million globally. Undertone, which we're going to be talking about later in the show, 9.3 million. We're going to talk about our feelings, but that's a huge win for a very small budget. It's a micro budget bottle film. It's under $1 million budget, made 10 times that. This is how you succeed. You got to get those budgets down, people. It's hard to make something for this cheap, but like when you start hearing things of like 80, like The Bride, for instance, $80 million movie that has made like $20 million, it's hard when you spend that much money. Scream 7 continues to do well at number 4, 8.5 million, 176 million globally. I think it's the highest grossing one of the entire series, so they're going to just keep making these. And then GOAT rounds out the top 5 with 4.7 million, 162 million globally.
Yeah, I saw news that Kevin Williamson, the director of Scream 7, and I think the director of the first film? No, Wes Craven did the first one.
Yes.
Did he direct?
No,
Wes Craven wrote it. That was the deal.
Yeah.
He said he's not coming back for a Scream movie, which, like, fair. Yeah, this one did not review well, but you're right. It made its money. We love a franchise trailer that runs like with the tagline like one last ride or like come back for one last scream, like implying it's the end. And then you see numbers like this and it's like, there's no way they're going to not make more of these, right? Like they're making Quiet Place 3 for God's sake. And those movies are diminishing every turn. Book slop is so funny, and highly offensive. I'm just thinking like you could rage bait Regretting You fans by doing a review of it and put book slop on the thumbnail right next to like the arrow pointing to the poster. But otherwise, like a pretty quiet weekend at the movies. I think everybody who's really focused on, what's going on at the cinema was looking at the Oscars on Sunday. That was kind of the big attention. And it seems like since they premiered, man, we are already getting a ramp up to summer trailers, right? The next day we get a Dune 3 look with a teaser. We just were talking about they got some looks at Tom Holland out for the new Spider-Man coming up. Tomorrow they're putting out a trailer for that, so we're not covering it on this episode, but we'll probably talk about it next week if it's long enough and worth covering. We are stepping into summer at the movies. Like it's time. Everybody want to get the Oscars out of the way, and now we're here.
Yeah, those books continue to do well, and like I said, I think studios are looking at these kinds of stories, which attract largely women. Like these are the primary audience and goers of these kinds of films. That stars again Micah Monroe. She plays a someone who she kills her boyfriend in a drunk driving accident, and the parents hate her. She goes to jail. She comes back 7 years later. They won't let her see the kid. She's got to try and get in good with the parents again. She starts dating the dead boyfriend's best friend, who's got complicated feelings about that. So it's a whole bunch of that kind of drama, and it totally works on screen apparently.
Yeah. Well, hey, why not? Like, way to go, Colleen Hoover. I'll take it. Whatever gets people out to cinemas, I guess. We got to talk about the Oscars. It's a little overwhelming. I might have done too much this year. We might have gone too far. But you know what? We're not hard pressed for time. We're going to clip it. We're going to put it on YouTube. So right before we jump into it, friendly reminder: go check out the channel. We got a bunch of cool stuff going on over there. Let's get into it, man. You wanna kick us off?
The 2026 Oscar winners. So last Sunday, or just a couple of days ago, was the Oscars, and it was a big night, Hollywood's biggest night. Not a whole lot of surprises. I think there were a lot of the predicted winners. Not really any big snubs or any big surprises. It was a great show. I didn't watch it because it's hard to actually watch the show. It's not streaming anywhere, but I have watched and listened to a number of recaps. Conan O'Brien came back for the second year to host the show. Heard he was all right. Some of the bits worked, some of them didn't. It's a tough gig, but at least he didn't bomb at all. We had musical performances from the ladies of K-pop Demon Hunters and Sinners. They wisely didn't do all 5 songs like they used to. They introduced, of course, there was a new Academy Award for Best Casting, which was exciting. So much to do, so much to talk about. We're going to talk about all the winners and snub and the few losers and snubs. So big night.
Yeah, before we jump right into it, I think it's worth saying, man, 2025 was a huge year at the movies. And even though we're just kind of really doing the wrap up in mid-March, something that we've talked about before, dude, they should move the Oscars up. It is way too far away from last year to be talking about all these films. It was such a great year, and it was a really cool time to see all of these films get celebrated. Andy and I have been doing this podcast for a long time. This is handily the most of these we've ever seen in a year. I think we both turned out our best ballots ever. Our 2 titans, our alphas and omegas, one battle after another, and Sinners battled it out all night. It was exciting right up to the finish. Huge emotional speeches, big moments, historic record-setting awards, man. Like it's everything you want the Oscars to be. I watched it on a stream illegally from some weird website because I don't have ABC and I didn't have Hulu, and I know that they're bringing the Oscars to YouTube in like a couple years, and that's sick. We'll watch it there and we will cover it there, and then maybe we could do a watch along or something. I don't know, but like for now, it is what it is. I'm excited I got to watch it. I'm very excited to go over everything. We have our ballots. We have footage. I got slides. Like I said, I did way too much this year. So let's jump into it, Andy. I'm going to pull the ballots on screen. I think we are good to talk about this as you see fit. You want to start with Best Picture?
Yeah, we have a complicated visual, but it'll all make a whole lot of sense. So scrolling up to... Oh, actually, scroll up since I'm looking at yours.
Oh, God.
Best
okay,
Picture.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I could do that.
Best Picture. Our nominees were Begonia, F1, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, The Secret Agent, Sentimental Value, Sinners, and Train Dreams. My pick for this was Sinners. I was wrong, and it went to One Battle After Another, which was one of the big winners of the whole night. They ended up winning 6 awards, which we'll go over. But you guessed correctly on this.
Yeah, this was just a vibes guess, man. I don't have any inside baseball knowledge. I just like One Battle a little bit more. I rewatched both of them before the end of the year. Sinners came out in February, and I just think so many people forgot about it. And that's not to say it's a bad movie. It obviously isn't, but I just feel like when I talk to friends about it, people who don't watch as many movies, they were like, yeah, it was okay. Sinners was fine. Maybe they don't really understand why it got as many awards as it did. So I was really pleased to go back and revisit it before we did the ballot here and see just how great it is. Like, it's such a good movie, man. It really is an all-timer. And between that and One Battle, like, I love them both. They're both very different. There's that great quote. Somebody said, Sinners is a film that feels timeless, but One Battle feels like a film that is about our time right now. It feels like a movie that's set like right in this unique period of history of this intersection of cell phones and internet and fascism, man. And anyway, Sinners is its own thing. And I just liked One Battle a little more. So when it came between the two of them, that's really all it is. That's what many of my picks between Sinners and One Battle are here. I just had to pick one or the other. Same goes for Best Director, right? Nominees included Paul Thomas Anderson for One Battle After Another, Ryan Coogler for Sinners, Josh Safdie for Marty Supreme, Joaquin Trier for Sentimental Value, and Chloe Zhao for Ham. That we saw all of these films over the year. We both took a stab at Best Director, and it worked out, which is funny because Director typically informs where Best Picture is going. That's why they announce Director usually right before. But Andy, knowing this, still said PTA for Best Director, Sinners for Best Picture. Andy, what was your thinking there?
I mean, one of the things is he's long overdue. Paul Thomas Anderson. A lot of people feel he should have won for There Will Be Blood back in 2007, and I mean, he's just made such great films. The Master, Magnolia, Boogie Nights. Those are like from earlier, and then the 90s. Then Phantom Thread from about 8 years ago, which is something that I need to revisit, but. That's one of the things is he's long overdue, but also it was just an incredible movie. It's one of the defining movies of the decade. I think it will be, along with Sinners. And I also wanted to point out with our the rest of our nominees, Marty Supreme basically got forgotten all night. It won
Yeah,
spoiler.
dog.
It won zero awards, and that's just how it goes. Like Marty Supreme came and went, and it was kind of a big deal when it was out, but like 2-3 weeks after it was out, it just kind of disappeared from the conversation, and that's just kind of how it goes sometimes. Same thing with Joachim Trier for Sentimental Value. Sentimental Value only won one award, which we'll talk about later. But I felt like this movie was in third place all night in all award season. I mean, it had 4 acting nominees, the entire cast nominated for Best Actor, 2 supporting actress noms, and Best Supporting Actor, and it didn't win any of those. But it's a great film, but it felt like it was in third place all month.
It's so funny you say that. When they showed Best Director, they show like the 5 of them in the little boxes. I was thinking like, God, Josh Safdie, who directed Marty Supreme, typically looks like a homeless man. Like he's just a young guy who just does not really care how he looks on set. And he had this big scraggly beard and all these photos. And I was like, God, I hope he didn't even bother trimming that, dog, because you're not getting on that stage. Like, there's no way. It's an honor to be nominated, but like, yeah, Marty Supreme just did not get above where the marketing wanted it to. They acted like it was going to be the biggest film of the year.
Moving on to Best Actress, the winner was Jessie Buckley for Hamnet, which has been predicted all season long. No big surprise here. Other nominees were Rose Byrne for If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, Kate Hudson for Song Sung Blue, Renata Reinsva for Sentimental Value, and Emma Stone for Bugonia. Great list of nominees. I'm still a little side-eye on Kate Hudson being in here, but Jessie Buckley was always going to take this home. There's been no question about it.
Yeah, we were hearing about Jessie Buckley walking away with this like well before we even saw the film. I mean, just out of festivals, people were like, Buckley probably has the Oscar. Like just right up. Like she has a performance in this that is kind of undeniable, and then you go see the film and it's like, yeah, man. Like it's kind of this whole breadth of human emotion. Hamnet is not a story that's told over a weekend. It's told over like months, maybe years. And like the developments that she makes across that, from this like kind of witch of the woods sort of free woman into a mother to somebody who bears this like incredible feeling of responsibility and guilt and despair is kind of something really special. Rose Byrne's also really cool in here. And God, I love Emma Stone for Begonia, but I just didn't think she'd get it. So Best Actor goes to Michael B. Jordan. Huge win of the night. Incredibly emotional speech. God, I love this moment when Adrian Brody announces him and then looks right at him and then says it. And you can just see like his breath leave his body. Like it's such a great move, and the world erupts around Jordan. Other nominees included Timothée Chalamet for Marty Supreme, Leonardo DiCaprio for One Battle After Another, Ethan Hawke for Blue Moon, and Wagner Moore for The Secret Agent. I figured it was DiCaprio. And maybe I was shooting too high, because when I watched Sinners, I was like, God, Jordan really does play 2 roles in here, man. Like he's got to play across from himself. I don't even know how they did it. Like it's something really special. Ethan Hawke was also incredible. Andy, you called this one right.
This is one of those categories that literally any of these people could have won and it would have felt appropriate. Like, and that's rare, because usually you have like 3 really strong contenders and then like a couple of sneaks or someone who's like, it's just an honor to be nominated. And everyone on this list is really incredible. Timothée Chalamet, he's had some controversy lately. I don't think that really affected voting. But again, Marty Supreme just came and went, and people kind of have to love your movie or at least be into it. It's got to be part of like the awards conversation. And like I said, just kind of faded into the background. He gives a great performance. DiCaprio just hasn't been he hasn't been campaigning very much. He's been very kind of small and reserved. And you got to get out there and kind of pound pavement. You got to do Q&As. You got to go to like screening parties. You got to do a lot of work. And he just kind of didn't feel like doing that. So I don't think he was campaigning very hard for himself. Ethan Hawke is probably a dark horse, but incredible performance. And of course, Wagner Moura and The Secret Agent. I had heard Michael B. Jordan won the Actors Award, formerly known as SAG, last week or the couple of weeks before, and that was what kind of gave it away. So that's ended up being my pick for that. Moving on to Best Supporting Actor. Unless, did you have anything else to add?
No, I was going to jump in Best Supporting.
Best Supporting Actor went to Sean Penn from One Battle After Another. You guessed this right. I guessed this wrong. I had guessed Stellan Skarsgård for Sentimental Value. Other nominees also included Benicio del Toro for One Battle After Another, Jacob Elordi for Frankenstein. See, that is one of those honorary nominations. Delroy Lindo for Sinners, who's a bit of a dark horse, but in the end it went to Sean Penn. Sean Penn wasn't even there. This is his third Oscar win. He previously won for Mystic River, and I can't remember the other movie, maybe Dead Man Walking. And no one actually knew where he was. He was allegedly out on some humanitarian mission. Turns out he was in the Ukraine, visiting Vladimir Zelensky, being an ambassador of some sort. We don't really know. It's probably for the better because Sean Penn will not stop smoking, and he will smoke inside. So well deserved because Stephen J. Lockjaw, his character, like an incredible villain portrayal.
Yeah, I jumped on Sean Penn after watching One Battle the first time, and I think he's winning Best Supporting. And I knew he had a couple, like one or two. I didn't know he actually had properly two. A lot of people got excited for Benicio del Toro. A lot of people got excited for Delroy Lindo, who I thought was like a really cool pick. That would have been incredible. Jacob Elordi's Frankenstein I thought was under too much makeup, which, by the way, goes on to win Best Makeup and Hairstyling. Elordi doesn't get one, but like the stuff he was wearing does, which is, meaningful, dude. It was a big performance. And Skarsgård and Sentimental Value, I just wasn't so sure about. But Penn, the reason he wasn't, like you said, the reason he wasn't at the Oscars is because he was talking to President Zelensky in Ukraine, right? He's over there being like some sort of freedom fighter, getting involved in global politics and using his influence, hopefully in a way that's meaningful. But Stephen J. Lockjaw is so not that guy. And when you're an actor and you're acting like somebody you're not, like it's important to kind of lock in and dial in with who your role is and who you're playing. And he manages to be this like embodiment of fucking fascism, man, like in a way that is so powerful and frightening and scary. And God, he walks funny and his hair's specific and he's got these weird freak mannerisms and he's got this look of just like outright rage and hate in the back of his eyes. And then you see what he's actually doing on Oscar night. Yeah, and he's like smoking a cigarette with the president of Ukraine. And it's like, that's just so far from what I think this guy is. Or maybe he's had that in him all along, but whatever it is, it's just like he pulled something unholy out of himself for this role and then went right back to being a non-existent person. I think it sucks he wasn't there. I think that's super lame. I get there's like this storied history of like people who don't come to the Oscars, but like, come on, well, whatever. It's an awards thing for Hollywood. Like, just show up and get your damn thing. But hey, good for him, I guess. Glad he won. I hope he never wins another one. I think 3's it. We should move on to supporting actress. Amy Madigan for Weapons. This was one of the very first ones they announced of the evening. Just knocking it out of the way early. Really emotional speech. Her husband, Ed Harris, is sitting right next to her. She talked about how, God, she started acting when she was 25. She'd gotten a couple noms decades ago, but none of it had moved the needle anywhere. She thought she'd fallen out of it. And then at over 70 years old, she gets a win. It cuts to Whitest Kids You Know, director Zach Kreger, who's like crying in the audience for her. I was just like, oh my God. Like Ed Harris looks like he's about to get teared up. Like it's like a story of like, keep at it, kid. You know what I mean? Like you never know when your time is going to come. Incredible W. Other nominees included Elle Fanning for Sentimental Value, Inga Ibstad Lilius for Sentimental Value, Wunmi Musaku for Sinners, and Tiana Taylor for One Battle After Another. Very emotional speech.
Right. This is one of the few that we both guessed right. She's been kind of the front runner for most of it. And it's interesting how it goes because for a little bit, Tiana Taylor was the front runner. And again, the lovely ladies from Sentimental Value just have never been a real part of the conversation. But again, They got 2 nominations in the same categories. Really, really incredible. And again, the great Wunmi Musaku from Sinners, who had a great role in that as well. Best Adapted Screenplay went to Paul Thomas Anderson for One Battle After Another. This is officially his first Oscar of the night before winning Picture and Director. Other nominees include Bugonia, Frankenstein, Hamnet, and Train Dreams, all of which we saw. Again, glad to see Bugonia in here. Not enough people. That movie doesn't get a lot of love. There is a lot of love for Frankenstein, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But challenging work to adapt. This is based on the Thomas Pynchon novel called Vineland. One Battle After Another is. And it's kind of just loosely based. Like I think it kind of takes the premise but then goes in a different direction. So it's tough material to adapt.
Yeah, I read Vineland after I watched One Battle After Another. I saw a paperback of it at a small bookshop in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and picked it up and read it on the trip. Tough read. Very tough read. Very different. The first 60 pages of Vineland starts like the beginning of One Battle, and then it is a rocket ship in effectively a different direction. Like whole other characters are introduced. It takes entire shifts of focus. Leonardo DiCaprio's character is effectively a footnote in that book. Like it is a very different sort of thing. And I think that's part of what makes that adaptation great is it's a film that feels so relevant to now, even though it's based on something that was written about a kind of alternate time in the 60s. Like it's a very, I don't know, it's a very strange thing. And a funny counterpart to Best Original Screenplay, which goes to Ryan Coogler for Sinners. All right. Other nominees included Blue Moon. It was just an accident. Marty Supreme and Sentimental Value. Sinners wins Best Original, and then One Battle wins Best Adapted. It's like, God, these two movies are titans. You know what I mean? And I don't know who's going to win the big show at the end of the night. We know now, of course, but leading into this, Coogler getting up there to accept Sinners is huge because he's now an Academy Award winner and he didn't do it with a team. This one is all on him. It is entirely his shoulders. I mean, obviously you build a film with the team, but he wrote the damn script. So even if he doesn't get one for directing, my God, he's an Academy Award winner. Put it on the tombstone, baby. He's done it.
Yeah. Incredible night for him. Again, his first, Academy Award ever now. He'll get a few more throughout the night. But yeah, well deserved. We both guessed that this would probably be the front runner. And the rest, it doesn't have the author, the authors of who wrote these, but I'm assuming it's the directors. But again, big night for both of these movies, and that's what we had predicted, that it would be kind of a battle between Sinners and One Battle After Another, and that they would both essentially come out winners. Best International Feature, the winner went to Sentimental Value, the one win of the entire night, and I think it had 8 nominees. Again, it had 4 acting nominations. Those really didn't go anywhere. We both guessed this wrong. I guessed that it would go to The Secret Agent out of Brazil. Zach guessed that it would go to It Was Just an Accident, which was officially out of France. Other nominees include Surat out of Spain and the voice of Hind Rajab from Tunisia. Again, I'm glad to see that Sentimental Value got something because it is a great film. But I'm kind of bummed it didn't go to The Secret Agent. Maybe it's because I watched it so recently, but that's where I was hoping it would go. But a big congrats to Sentimental Value.
Yeah, same. I was really hoping for It Was Just an Accident. That movie feels like something really special, but Sentimental Value is obviously a huge hit and got a ton of noms. Very, a tamped down sort of movie. Like it's not a big fiery picture. It doesn't have any of these great settings. It's just something that feels like something having a family. And most of us have that in one way or another. Best Documentary Feature, I'm going to be honest, I didn't make a fancy slide for this, so I'm going to move through it fast because I didn't see most of these. I just took a stab at it. I guessed Perfect Neighbor. Let's see, I got it here somewhere. There it is. I guessed Perfect Neighbor. Andy guessed Mr. Nobody Against Putin. Mr. Nobody wins. Way to go. Other nominees included Cutting Through Rocks, Come See Me in the Good Light, and The Alabama Solution. Perfect Neighbor review is up on the channel. You can go check it out. Otherwise, we should probably see Mr. Nobody Against Putin. It just won Best Documentary.
Right. I just took a stab in the dark at this. The documentary feature seems to go to political films a lot of times. I've seen this on, I think it's available to rent on Amazon Prime. So yeah, I just kind of took a blind stab at it and came out on top. So that was mostly a big bit of luck, but we should definitely take a look at it. Best animated feature went to K-pop Demon Hunters, which we both guess. No big secret here. This has been a phenomenon. One of the biggest movies of the year. Definitely one of the biggest animated films. The biggest movie for Netflix ever. apparently. Other nominees included Zootopia 2, Little Amelie or the Character of Rain, Elio, and Arco. Other movies that we haven't seen. But this isn't surprising at all. And they, of course, were able to do a big K-pop, a big performance of Golden as well. So that was a fun time for the show.
Yeah, this one felt like a layup. Zootopia 2 obviously made a ton of money for Disney, and I heard it was a great script, so I haven't watched it. Need to. God, I got it sitting around. I need to just actually sit down and watch it. Elio is a big flop. Arco and Little Amelie, I just don't know. But K-pop, meanwhile, is like unstoppable, right? Like, good God. Huge influence, huge W for Sony Pictures Animation, huge get for Netflix. Not too surprising to see it take the top spot. Cinematography was one of the most emotional awards of the evening. The winner for this was Autumn Durald Arkapaw for Sinners. We did not think she was going to get it. We thought it was going to be Michael Bauman for One Battle After Another. Both of us voted. We also had nominees for Frankenstein, Marty Supreme, and Train Dreams. Autumn Durald Arkapaw is the first female cinematography winner in the entire run of the Oscars. 98 years. She is the very first one. Incredibly powerful moment. Her speech was short. It was well put together. There's this awesome clip of Sinners director Ryan Coogler running back and grabbing her son and bringing him up and putting her in her seat so her son could see her win. She does this thing at the end where she has all the women in the room stand up, and it doesn't feel too preachy or too big. Like, it's a moment that feels earned. Huge W. Another W for Sinners. Put it in the basket, and huge for Autumn Durald Arkapaw.
Yeah, like I said, incredible statistic that a woman has never won this award, especially a particular woman of color, in 100 years history of the Oscars. So you got to break boundaries, or you got to break through the glass ceiling eventually. So it's a huge win for her. Very, very proud. And again, like we had both guessed that it would go to One Battle After Another. Best editing did go to One Battle After Another for Andy Jurgensen. I guessed this one. Zach guessed Sinners, which was another nominee, along with Sentimental Value, Marty Supreme, and F1. This is one of the few that F1 got in there. No big surprise here. Again, it was going to either be One Battle or Sinners, but something like F1 kind of had an outside chance. Some of that racing stuff is pretty cool, but well-deserved.
Yeah, I loved One Battle, and I do a lot of editing, so I love the editing of One Battle. But dog, there are shots in Sinners I still don't know how they did it. It is movie magic in a way that is like incredibly affecting. You forget by the end of the movie that like there's only one Michael B. Jordan. Smoke and Stack are so convincing, and the way they move across from one another is like old school Hollywood stuff, man. Like, they're using tricks I don't even understand. It's incredibly affecting. I think Sinners is incredible, and I'm glad One Battle got it. Let's move to one Best Original Song. I know we already mentioned this, but the winner is K-pop Demon Hunters for Golden. Other nominees included Dear Me by Diane Warren, I Lied to You from Sinners, Sweet Dreams of Joy from Viva Verde, and Train Dreams from Train Dreams. You know, we mentioned Marty Supreme being the big snubs of the night. Train Dreams got rolled over too, man. Like, a lot of people didn't think it was going to do well, and it didn't, which I guess isn't that surprising. Also saw a clip of Diane Warren like being bombed.
Diane Warren has been nominated like 17 times, I think.
Yeah,
and they didn't even sing her song either.
Sean Penn picks up his third dub, and he's not even there. Poor Diane Warren. But hey, huge win for Golden.
I want to kind of group these next three all together because it's the same winner. Best Costume Design went to Frankenstein, who also won for Best Production Design and Best Makeup and Hairstyling. This was a bit of a surprise. I thought Frankenstein would win for Makeup and Hairstyling. I was surprised that it won for Costumes and Production. Going back to Costumes, other nominees were Avatar, Fire and Ash, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, and Sinners, which both, that was our guess, was Sinners. So Frankenstein winning this, getting more love than anticipated, but everyone loves Guillermo del Toro in Hollywood. So I think that's part of it. Everyone just loves that guy.
Yeah, honestly, like, I wasn't that warm on Frankenstein, but people were telling me I was wrong. I need to check it out again. I should see it in a theater. Respect. I probably should revisit it. And it got a lot of attention at the Oscars here. It's got a Criterion pickup. It's going to be over there. Like, you're right. People love the monster movie director, man. Guillermo del Toro is the king. So respect. Casting was a big surprise this evening. Casting went to, Got the slide right here. One battle after another. Other nominees included Hamnet, Marty Supreme, The Secret Agent, and Sinners. Andy and I both thought it was Sinners. I thought it was Sinners with a bullet, and casting was kind of a big upset for people who were big on the Oscars. Casting early, I think, had people thinking One Battle was going to take Best Picture. It turns out that was true. I don't know if it's a bellwether going forward, but like it does turn out casting and Best Picture are pretty intrinsically linked, it seems. So, take that with a grain of salt, I guess.
This is a brand new award, and we weren't sure where this is going to go because there are other award shows that have like an ensemble award, which is what people thought this might be a way to reward more of an ensemble feature, which I don't really think One Battle After Another is. All our characters are kind of disparate and separate the whole time. But that just shows that this award can be multiple things. You can reward a cast itself or the people who do the casting, which is more what this is for, which went to Cassandra Kounitis. But exciting new award. We don't get that much. The next new award will be in 2 years when we also get the best stunt category, which will be exciting. Best original score went to my man Ludwig Göransson for Sinners for his third Oscar. He previously won for Oppenheimer, and I've already forgotten the one before, maybe Black Panther. Incredible score. He is the next John Williams. The next John Williams has arrived. He's so good. Other scores include Jerskin Fendrix for Begonia, Alexander Desplat for Frankenstein, Max Richter for Hamnet, and Johnny Greenwood for One Battle After Another. It might have been a little close in a different year for Johnny Greenwood. He definitely deserves an Oscar, and meanwhile Ludwig's picking up his third. But man, what an incredible score to Sinners.
You're spot on. Black Panther in 2019, he won for. He wins for Oppenheimer in 2024, and now he wins for Sinners in 26. Dude, I love the Sinners score. And when I was rewatching the film, I had kind of forgotten he was the one on it. And watching it, I'm soaking it in. I'm coming back for round 2, and I was like, man, the score in this is just so good. I know it's got a nom for original song, but on top of that, this like bluesy Mississippi Delta sound mixed with this like hard rock. There's like Irish stuff in there, right? They like do a jig. Jack O'Connell's dancing. Like, I just thought this is so great. And you get to the credits and they throw up Ludwig Göransson. You're like, God, it's this guy from like the Netherlands. Like, it's this guy from just a totally different part of the world, like, who managed to bring something that feels so down to earth to this picture that feels so perfect for it. Like, incredible score. Yeah, we both figured it was Ludwig. It's Ludwig with a bullet. We already covered makeup and hairstyling with Frankenstein. We already covered production design with Frankenstein. Visual effects. We're nearly at the end of this list now, so stick around. Visual effects goes to Avatar, Fire and Ash. Not really a surprise. We both figured that was it. If there's the other nominees included F1, Jurassic World Rebirth, The Lost Bus, and Sinners. Sinners has some great visual effects. F1 definitely has the cool bits in the racing. Jurassic World Rebirth is fine. I didn't see The Lost Bus. But Avatar, Fire and Ash is kind of, it's kind of the de facto VFX movie of the year, right? Like, if you're going to give Cameron an award for anything, it's got to be how good it looked. So no surprises there.
And to round out the awards that we actually know things about, Best Sound went to F1. No question there. Other nominees were Frankenstein, One Battle After Another, Sinners, and Surat. The race car stuff, we knew, like, the day that movie came out that it was probably going to be the front runner for sound. Well deserved. And again, a way to get a more popular, more mainstream film in at the Oscars.
F1 was a big surprise, I think, for the noms it got, especially seeing a Best Picture nom. I think all of us were thinking, there's no way this movie wins Best Picture. But seeing it get something, I guess, makes sense considering how much noise it managed to make on the ballot. People underrate the sound in that movie. They're like, the sound wasn't that good. It is. It's really good, man. Those racing sequences are kind of the reason to go see that picture. And the sound design is a crucial part of that. Like, it's good sound. Maybe it's not my favorite of the year for sure, but it's very good sound. So yeah, if I'm going to give it something, I'll throw it that. We did not cover Best Live Action Short, Best Animated Short, and Best Documentary Short. But Andy, before we get to snubs and highs and lows, a quick look at the totals here. I think this is our best year ever at doing this. You and I went out of 24 awards, 14 and 14. Tie year at the Oscars. What do you think? How do we manage to pull this off, huh? We could call them like we see them, I guess.
Well, it was a really strong year for the contenders because when you pull up the best pictures for like the last 10 years, a lot of those first, like from 2015 to 2020, it's rough. It's movies that probably don't deserve best picture, that people have forgotten, that people have not watched more than once. And this year we had just a slate of classics. I will rewatch Sinners multiple times a year. I'll revisit One Battle After Another. Occasionally it's a little bit more serious movie, but just a really great crop of films that you'll reference and be proud to have seen. I did want to mention real quick that Best Live Action Short actually had a tie between the singers and two people exchanging saliva, which was interesting. Best Animated Short went to The Girl Who Cried Pearls, and Best Documentary Short went to All the Empty Rooms. I haven't seen any of these. I didn't bother guessing. So technically I'm 14 for 21 because I didn't even try on those, which makes it the most. But an incredible show and an incredible year of film. It's been really exciting since April of 2025, we've been in the Oscar race. And while we're thinking, oh, this is the end of Oscar season, we can finally wrap it up, we just got the Dune 3 trailer, which we're going to talk about in a second. And Project Hail Mary comes out in 2 days, which is going to be an Oscar frontrunner also.
Yeah, kind of a huge night at the Oscars. I know we already kind of covered snubs and surprises a little bit. Marty Supreme is a big shutout. Train Dreams does not get a lot of love. F1 was a surprise, I think, for people who thought it was going to get absolutely nothing. Frankenstein picking up 3 was a surprise to me. I didn't think that movie was going to get that much love, but certainly earned a lot of noms. And for anybody out there, God, I just feel like there are people out there who are like, Sinners didn't win every single thing it was nominated in. Bullshit. Dude. 4 not Academy Awards for the R-rated vampire horror movie that normally is never, like, how many of those you see at the Oscars every year? Very few. Historic high watermark with 16 noms at the ceremony. Every year from now on, films are going to have to try to beat Sinners' numbers of noms, and few will. I mean, if any, like, huge. Ryan Coogler is an Academy Award winner. Michael B. Jordan is an Academy Award winner. We have our first female cinematography Academy Award winner. Like, huge night for Sinners. Like, I'm so glad I got to watch these 2 films, Sinners and One Battle, battle it out and duke it out all night at the awards. God, they're both huge, titanic films. And I'm so glad we got both of them in 1 year. Crazy.
Yeah, really exciting stuff. And I wanted to say about Michael B. Jordan, because some people downplay his role in Sinners, but part of what the Oscars do is they reward a career. And Michael B. Jordan has been in films and TV since he was a teenager, starting out on the Wire, on HBO, other TV stuff, eventually moved into film. So he has a storied career, and that's part of what the Oscars wants to reward. And that's Timmy's going to get one eventually. He might get one next year. It might be 5 years. They might make him wait. That's just how it goes sometimes. But he's an Oscar-winning actor. He'll get one eventually. His movie it didn't hit. And I heard on a different show say, if he hadn't done the annoying Marty Supreme promo, that movie doesn't do as good as it did. Like, that movie made almost $200 million. And if he doesn't do the I'm the best in the world shtick, that movie doesn't do as well. Not as many people hear about it. And maybe that hurt his Oscar chances, but at the end of the day, like, to be a movie star, you got to move tickets. You got to get butts in seats. And if you're not that, then you're not a star. Yeah. And he's a star.
Yeah. Huge night for everybody. I thought it was so funny seeing Timothée Chalamet, like, clad in all white. And then, like, 8 hours after the Oscars, they dump, like, the Dune 3 character posters, and he looks like the most evil man in the universe. Like, all black, eyes all made, got the Anakin Skywalker thing going. Like, awesome. Love it. My man's in his villain arc. Why not? But for the record, I'm just going to put this out way early. I do not think he's going to win an Oscar for his performance in Dune 3. I haven't seen it. I don't know anything about it. But it's a franchise now, and it's his 3rd turn as Paul Atreides. Like, I don't know what, and I haven't read Dune Messiah. Maybe it goes a different way, but I'm just like, I think this was probably his good shot for a couple years. Maybe he'll pull something in before next holiday, but, like, we'll see. Also, no love for Begonia at the Oscars, but, like, I don't think most people saw Begonia. I don't think are surprised by that. Like, that movie's really special and really cool.
It's a weird one.
It's a weird one. We got reviews for almost all of these on the channel. We got thumbnails and stuff. We got keywords, man. You can go find. So check us out on YouTube. And I think that's our 2026 Oscars coverage. Any other thoughts before we jump into Undertone, Andy?
I think I'm ready.
All right. Well, I'm going to be taking the summary on this. Thanks for listening to the Oscars coverage. If you stuck with us till the end. Let's talk about Undertone. So, Undertone is the new horror from A24. Very small budget horror film starring a very small cast, namely Evie, who is a young podcaster played by Nina Kiri, who first time I've seen her in a film. She is living at her mother's house. Her mother's doing very poorly. Her health is in decline. She's effectively on hospice. And it's on these late nights when she's alone in the house and her mom is upstairs that she's recording a podcast with her co-host who lives on the other side of the country. The two of them are doing the Undertone podcast. It's a sort of paranormal, true crime investigation series. And one night, her and her co-host, Justin, receive 10 audio files that with a cryptic email that say, hey, you should listen to these. Justin decides, hey, let's listen to them live on the show and just hit them back. And it's over the course of listening to these 10 recordings that things start to happen. Things start to become amiss in the house. And Evie feels like she heard something upstairs. So there's a light that flicks on. And slowly over the course of the film, things start to go wrong. Undertone is touted for, I keep calling it gimmick horror, but kind of a one-trick horror. It's its audio experience, right? The poster and the trailers have waveforms on them, and it's all about listening, and you're going to hear things you've never heard. And I mean, I even read stuff that said they use subsonic frequencies in the soundtrack to make you feel a certain way, right? And they'll play like the, I don't know, brown note or something. And like, it's supposed to be a whole thing, but I'm excited that we saw Undertone. I'm looking forward to talking about it. Andy, what did you think of Undertone?
I was a little disappointed in this. I really dug the trailer. I thought the premise was interesting and cool, especially as someone who does a podcast. But film is a visual medium, and this was a little bit hard to watch in the first hour or so because it's a lot of watching someone do a podcast. And that's the thing that I hate. Like, even now when I watch others, I don't want to watch a podcast. I want to listen to a podcast. I don't want to watch and sit people talk. I like to go listen to podcasts while I'm driving or doing chores or doing something else. I don't want to just sit there and watch people talk. And unfortunately, that's what this movie makes you do. And it's only one half of the person because her podcast partner is in the UK and they're off screen. A lot of the other sounds are off screen. So it's just her in this creepy house. And it just didn't do enough to kind of creep you out early on. Like there's some of the creepy sounds. It's definitely an auditory film, and probably the best place to see it is in the theater. Like at home isn't going to be the same effect, but it's a whole lot of watching a girl talking to a microphone, and it's just not quite creepy enough. And it seemed to kind of rip off Skinamarink. It was very inspired by a lot of the things you see in that movie, and it just wasn't scary enough. I think the ending is pretty intense. The last 15 minutes are pretty good. It just takes so long to get there.
Yeah, we talked about A Quiet Place earlier in the news segment, and one of the things I like about A Quiet Place is how it uses audio as kind of its gimmick, right? That's the thing. Like that's the Jaws shark of A Quiet Place. You got to be quiet or else the monsters will get you, right? And so loud bangs and noises and stuff like keep the audience on high alert. But I was interested to see Undertone because I felt like this is another exploration into that, right? Like instead of you have to be quiet, you're hearing something and you're trying to discern and you're maybe flipping a track back and forth and like playing with the medium in a different way in horror. And that seemed exciting. It's also a small budget. Like I heard it was kind of a small project. It's like 94 minutes. It's a quick burn from A24. But it doesn't work. Undertone has one trick and it doesn't work. And it's tragic because the audio stuff is cool. But just a few minutes into the movie, like as we kind of get started here, we meet Evie Babbage. She's staying at her mother's house. She has a partner who's not really around, who's effectively non-existent, who's distant for some reason or another. You don't really get to the bottom of why. Mom is not doing good. Hospice is coming over. Like it's going to be any day. You're going to hear like a death rattle thing. And then she hops on the phone like that first night with she gets on a Zoom call. She's got her Electro Voice RE20 or little Scarlett recorder, just like Andy and I got. And she's doing her podcast and she gets on with this guy and they start talking. And just a couple minutes into that, you feel this vibe around the room. Like you see this dark doorway behind her, right? And you see these kind of long pulled back shots and you get this feeling of like claustrophobia and aloneness. And the soundtrack, the sound design plays this in so good. She puts on headphones and the ambience of the room goes out. And the clock that's ticking out there goes away because she's wearing headphones now. And then she grabs her mic and pulls it over and you hear like the ka-tunk of the microphone and like, you hear Justin call on the FaceTime call, like you hear the Apple ring and you see the screen and like all of that feels really good. But then about 5 or 6 minutes into that call, when you're still watching it and it's still Evie Babbage sitting alone in a room, you start to realize like, oh no, there's 90 more minutes of movie to go. And that's the movie. And like my summary said they listened to these 10 audio files, and it sounds like that happens over the course of one night, right? One scary night. It's like Evil Dead, the night in the cabin, right? You got to survive the night. No, dog. It's like a week and a half. It's like they come back today. Yes, they come back today, and mom's doing worse. And then the next day, mom's going to die any second. And then the next day, where's the boyfriend? Like her life sucks. Evie Babbage's life is so awful. It's so bad. And then on top of that, bad things are happening to her via like horror and her one outlet, which she likes, which is like this true crime paranormal podcast. Like it's a bummer of a movie, and also it's boring. Like it's a 2-part failure of Undertone.
Yeah. What was supposed to be creepy are these recordings. They start listening. There are these 10, they get a mysterious email. And there's a bunch of like children's songs that they hear, and they start trying to find, they think they're hearing things. They start trying to like decode messages. There's this whole subplot about, it's definitely about like Catholic guilt. Like she feels guilty about like her mom's situation and leaving her, and just other thing. There's a lot of Catholic imagery. This actually ties into the Pope's Exorcist really well. It just doesn't really explain a whole lot of that. Like the mystery of what they're listening to, these files, it's not really scary enough. It doesn't get creepy enough. And it also kind of doesn't make a whole lot of sense. They're just kind of, because it's hard when you're just listening to find out what they're actually listening to, what's going on. And also Evie's like, they have this paranormal podcast, and she's like not buying any of it. And I'm like, you got to kind of lean into it if you're going to have a podcast like this. She's like, nope, I'm the town skeptic, and there's explanations for all this, and none of this has happened. She just kind of drags it down. And I was like, if you got to kind of lean into it if you're having this kind of podcast. And it just like that part just didn't make a whole lot of sense. Like I'm like trying to figure out the mystery of these cursed files, and they don't really happen.
So I do want to say, like it's not all bad in Undertone. It's not a failure of a movie. I think it's fine, and I think what it does well enough. But I did like Nina Kiri in lead performance as Evie. I think she was in Handmaid's Tale, if I read that right correctly somewhere on the internet. So that's where you might have seen her before. She is one of like 3 or 4 bodies in the film. Everybody else is a voice, right? Like her podcaster Justin, like co-host Justin, is a voice. Her partner Darren, who's kind of not around, is a voice on a phone call. Like, so she is alone, and she is kind of steeped in this kind of miserable setting. And I like that things start to go wrong, and she, even if she doesn't say it specifically to somebody, you do get this feeling like of paranoia, right? Like when you spend enough time in one place and you kind of don't leave, and you just end up in these cycles of like day and night, and what day is it now and what time is it now? Things start to look odd in the house, right? Did I put that book over there or there? Did I leave that light on or not? And like that stuff works good. And I think she's good at that. Along with a lot of these, like she'll think she hears something and she'll kind of turn, and the camera will just pan and just sit. And you usually don't see anything, which is a problem. They should probably have a little bit more going on. But those moments are good. Like when she'll like hear something and it like just kind of look over. And like she's got, I don't know, she manages to dial it in. Like I thought she was actually a really strong performance in this movie. I like her a lot. She should do more. As far as where the film comes from, I know it's from director Ian Tuason, who also wrote the film. I hear he's heading up the next Paranormal Activity reboot. So this is kind of the preview into who's going to be taking that franchise. Makes a ton of sense. Like watching Undertone, I'm like, I get why you would be approaching this guy about doing a low budget, kind of lo-fi in-house horror remake, because that's most of what this is. Stuff does get whack. Stuff does start to get crazy. I should say, like the actual interactions of the audio and what you're hearing, like flickering lights, like there is definitely some good work. But it's kind of poorly placed in the movie. It takes too long to get there. And yeah, like the 3rd or 4th time she's talking to Justin on the pod, you're just like, I'm falling asleep on my chair. This is the most boring horror movie. Like it's just not quite enough juice. You know what I mean? Not enough meat on the bone for what that the marketing promises. A24 went real far with this. It's
so funny because Justin, her podcast co-host, is like, he's the opposite of her. He's like, oh my God, did you hear that? Did you hear that? Oh my God, Evie. They're like, he's totally bought into the paranormalness of this, and it's annoying because she is not. But like I said, he's at the other end of it. Like I said, it reminded me a lot of Skinamarink because there's a lot of the camera staring into like open doorways that are just black, and you're like, is there something there? Is there something not? And that gets real old, real fast. It's hard to get through Skinamarink itself, but at least that was kind of the point of that movie. This is literally copying a lot of those same ideas. It's just not. It gets old. It's not as scary. It needed more scares earlier on in the movie because that's what sets you on edge. You get a good scare in Act 1 and Act 2, and then you're just on edge for the rest of it. And it took too long to get to anything exciting.
Yeah, or like I said, like just kind of a change in tone from like her life outside of the podcast and the horror happening to her. You know what I mean? Because it's just a dour movie. If there was no horror in the middle of this, it's a very sad half hour. Like things are not going good for mom. The boyfriend's not around. Like she's depressed. She can't sleep. Like that stuff's tough. Like the audio investigation is admittedly fun. I'll be honest, because Evie is the skeptic and Justin is the believer. He'll say, "Hey, did you hear that in this file? Let me play it back for you." She's like, "No, I didn't hear it." And so you do lean in a bit. Like I did feel that there are moments when they're playing audio file 3 or whatever, and you're like really trying to crane your head and listen. And that feels good because that's how it should feel. You're like the third co-host almost, like coming along with them and listening to these files and like kind of figuring out what you're getting into. It's kind of cool. Curse Digital. They obviously partnered with Apple in some fashion to be able to use a lot of their stuff. Like you're definitely looking at a Mac and seeing real software and real sounds. And I do think the audio design is cool for sure. It's poor pacing, I think, that drags Undertone down. Like that's what drags it under the water. And I don't know. It kind of pulls up by the end. I ended up leaving feeling like, it was fun, but it's not quite it. I think next outing for our director will be a lot stronger. Give him Paranormal Activity, give him a bit more juice. I think you tighten this formula up and you got something good. But this is like not quite cinematic enough to be theatrical, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And again, I kept trying to figure out this mystery, like, oh, what is this curse about? What does this, paranormal entity want? What are the rules of what we're doing? And it just like never really made a whole lot of sense. There's a whole lot of like Catholic mythology about some XYZ demon who is after babies and fertility, and like she finds out she's pregnant at one point, and so there's like some parallels, but I was like, I don't really know what's going on.
Yeah, you're gonna watch Undertone. You're gonna think, it's Andy's acting what I'm talking about. You're gonna pop it on. You're gonna be bored. You watch, give it 10, 15 minutes. You're gonna be bored. You'll be checking your phone. People have said the ending is a cop out. We don't talk about spoilers here, so I'm gonna cop out on that. I'm not gonna talk about that either. You watch it, see for yourself. But I gotta know, Andy, would you recommend Undertone?
So this is a weird one. Overall, I'm probably going to say soft pass on this. It's too slow for too much of it. It's a lot of watching a girl talking to a microphone and make a podcast. It's not scary enough. It's kind of confusing. It's stealing a lot from other movies. That said, if you're interested in it, the best place to see it is going to be in the theater because the sound is such a major portion that being in the theatrical setting is going to be the best experience. But if you're not looking into that, it's not going to work any better at home. It's probably working much worse at home. So probably soft pass.
Yeah, I was trying to get a clip earlier when I was being harsh on it. I'll be honest, I didn't hate this movie as much as maybe it sounds. But I've been surprised since I saw it. And then Andy saw it, I think, the next day after me. And then I had a couple other friends that saw it shortly after. Everybody was sour. I was like, okay. Like, it wasn't just me. Like, there were parts that I was like, that didn't work, but it's okay. It goes for it. And it doesn't really work as good. Undertone is okay. I think you wait for streaming. I think it'll play fine at home. Honestly, with headphones on, probably plays awesome. If you got a good set of headphones or surround sound, I think it's a great time. But it's just paced a little funny. That's its biggest failing, I think. A little bit of pacing, tweak it up. Director's doing a new Paranormal Activity reboot. It'll be great by then. You're a great new actress, Nina Kiri. Want to see what she's doing more of. That's Undertone. Andy, we got to talk about a trailer. We thought about doing a whole trailer park with like 9 different trailers, but we're doing that maybe next week. This week we have one to talk about, one big important one. What is this?
Dune is back. Dune Part 3. So yesterday, a day after Timothee Chalamet did not get the Oscar for Best Actor, they released the posters for Dune 3, the character posters, which all our favorite casts are back along with some new characters. And they said trailer dropping tomorrow. And let me set this up a little bit. The trailer dropped on a TikTok live, which I tuned in for, and it started with a Q&A with Denis Villeneuve talking a little bit about the movie and the books, not giving too much away. And then he brought the cast out. And again, this was only happening on TikTok live. Couldn't find it anywhere else. Brought not Timothée Chalamet, but Florence Pugh was there, Zendaya, Robert Pattinson, Anya Taylor-Joy, just like the stars. And they did a little bit Q&A, and then they finally released the trailer, which I had to watch on my phone vertically, which means you don't see everything. Eventually I went to YouTube, finally checked it out. The trailer absolutely rips. I lost my mind. They're doing Dune Messiah, which is, I think, technically the second book in the series, but I think they will be incorporating elements from more of the books. There's 6 books in total. I don't know how far they're going to go, but this is Denis Villeneuve. This is him concluding his Dune story, and we don't get a lot of plot details. We do see that Timothée Chalamet's Paul Atreides, we're doing a time jump 17 years in the future. His sister Aaliyah, played by Anya Taylor-Joy, and he's like a grizzled man, and he's like, we're still at war. We got to beat our enemies, just fight harder. Again, it's all vibes, but there's this great section where he starts this chant, and the chant grows louder through the entire trailer until he's like screaming it and everyone else is screaming it. And it's just amazing. And we see our incredible cast, of course, Timothée Chalamet, Anya Taylor-Joy, Jason Momoa's character is back. Spoiler, I guess. He comes back in the books. I'm not real sure how. We see Robert Pattinson, who's a villain character called Cytail, who's got this blonde shaved head. He looks really weird. He's going to be doing a weird voice because he loves doing that. Javier Bardem, Rebecca Ferguson is back, Zendaya, Florence Pugh, Josh Brolin, Léa Seydoux. Incredible cast. We see the visuals that we know from Dune. It looks amazing. It comes out December 18th at the end of this year, 2026. I'm beyond hyped. Hype train in orbit.
I did not know you watched it on TikTok this morning. That's awesome. I appreciate that. I appreciate you checking in. I didn't know any of this. Like I had looked up a bit for the show. I saw the character posters yesterday. I started working on a thumbnail. I was like, this is easy. Like we totally got it. We're a movie channel. We got to talk about this. So I'm glad we're talking about Dune 3. I thought this movie was going to come a little later, I think. I mean, maybe a lot did. Denis Villeneuve has wanted to adapt this hard sci-fi novel from 1973 called Rendezvous with Rama for a minute. Then after Dune 1, he was like, I think I'm going to take a break and do this movie Rendezvous with Rama. And then he said, nah, I'm going to do Dune 2. But then after that, he was like, I'm taking a break. I'm going to give it a beat before Dune Messiah. I'm going to do Rendezvous with Rama. And then now he's like, well, he said after Dune 2 came out, he just felt like he felt the compassion from fans and felt like it was time. And I'm like, I feel the pressure, dog, but also like the money on these movies has got to be insane. This is going to be the first where it is shot mostly with film. Typically, when a film is, quote, filmed for IMAX, it means that it's shot mostly with IMAX digital cameras, but this one isn't. The other two were. This is shot mostly on film. I think the desert is still digital, but otherwise, it's still going to run in IMAX. It's got a 3-week exclusive window, which is going to run up against Avengers, right? Avengers Doomsday? Avengers Doomsday is going to be what's going on at the box office. Yeah. And it's great for Disney. I'm sure that's only going to help them. It's exciting. It's exciting for people who like Dune. It's exciting for people who like movies. It's exciting for people who like sci-fi. Man, I was just talking about how Timothée Chalamet is not going to get a Best Actor nom for this. He might. I could be wrong. I've been wrong once or twice in my life, I think, and maybe this is another one of those times. But I love that this trailer does not it's listed as a teaser, dude. It's 2.5 minutes of footage, baby. It's not some stupid logo reveal. Yes, like we are giving it to you. They dumped 9 character posters online yesterday. They're like, make thumbnails, make clips, farm, like spread this out, spread the message of Dune. It's exciting, man. Dune is really cool. I think it is a modern sci-fi classic. Like it's like you're watching Lord of the Rings come out or something. It's like you're watching Star Wars come out to theaters, you know?
Yeah, it's going to be super excited. We got to wait again. 10 months, 9 months until it comes out. We'll get another trailer probably later in the fall. I also want to mention that the new Spider-Man trailer is dropping tomorrow, so not in time for the show. Spider-Man Brand New Day. They're dropping short, like 2-second clips all today, which is annoying. Full thing's coming out to be tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, keep an eye out for more from Dune. We'll definitely be talking about it more as it comes up. We're Dune heads over here. Andy a little bit more than me, but thank God he can bring you and me along and everybody else and let us know what's going on and what's good and what's bad. So hop on the hype train, baby. Dune Part 3 is coming this holiday. 3 weeks in IMAX, exclusive window. It's going to be sick. That one guy on Twitter, Bats Dune, is going to watch it like 97 times or something. All right, we should jump into our next film. Anything else you want to mention about Dune before we get into it?
I'm ready.
So Andy and I had not intended to watch this for the pod. In fact, we meant to just do the Oscars and Undertone. And not only did I want to jump on it because we've been having just kind of a runaway success on the YouTube channel lately. And I just wanted to make more for it. So I thought, hey, I think I'll check out this movie. It's on VOD. We should watch it. Andy ended up watching it too. So what was going to be a mini review turned into a full review. And then after this, briefly, we're going to talk about Pope's Exorcist. I did not watch that, so that's a one-sider for sure. But in between now and then, let us talk about director of the Ring, director of Pirates of the Caribbean, Gore Verbinski's new film from last year. Good luck, have fun, don't die. So, Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die is quite a cynical black comedy, man, from writer Matthew Robinson and director Gore Verbinski. The story is a man from the future, played by Sam Rockwell, arrives at a small diner named Norm's in Los Angeles, where he must recruit the precise combination of disgruntled patrons to join him on a one-night quest to save the world from the terminal threat of a rogue artificial intelligence. Sounds a little complicated, and it is. The movie opens right away with Sam Rockwell arriving at this diner wearing this goofy getup that looks like he stepped right out of Everything Everywhere All at Once. He's got this weird clear plastic poncho on, and he's covered in microchips, and he tells all these patrons, hey, I'm not a homeless man, I'm from the future, and y'all all have to come with me or else everything's gonna fall apart. Everybody's on their phones, and he immediately starts throwing phones out the window. Hey, you're not gonna need any of those, we're moving along. It's quite a fast pace for him to get his small group of survivors, who include, let me list a couple of these, Juno Temple from Apple TV's Argo, that's right. She's also in that soccer show, Ted Lasso. Haley Lou Richardson is Ingrid. Michael Pena is Mark. Zazie Beetz. Asim Chaudhry is one of our survivors. Georgia Goodman is one of our survivors. A couple other small ones. And the two of them have to, or the bunch of them essentially have to leave Norm's and survive the night to arrive at this small house where somebody is creating the future of AI and stop them before it all goes wrong. Our man Sam Rockwell has a button that lets him travel back to an alternate reality in case it doesn't work out. He explains that he's done this quite a few times, that hopefully tonight is the night that we all have fun and good luck and don't die. Andy, what'd you think of this very odd picture?
Man, I thought this was really kind of terrible. I hadn't heard very good things about it, and then ended up watching it with a few friends. I think it just kind of fails on a lot of levels. It looks like a TV show. It feels like an episode of Black Mirror or several episodes of Black Mirror, because we get our main time travel storyline, but then we get several backstories of our different characters, and these are all very Black Mirror TV episodes. There is one where these teenage kids at school won't get off their phones. There's another one where they clone this woman's son who's died, but he's like, they can clone his body, but his personality's kind of not there. And so we're getting a lot, like, again, very dystopian Black Mirror-esque. And it just looks super cheap. It looks like a cheap TV show. Effects are kind of bad. It's way too long. It's 2 hours, 15 minutes. Also, when you have a time travel and a time loop movie, you want to see the loop happen. We never see the loop happen. It's just, he's just like, take my word for it, I'm from the future. And he does do things, like he does predict things happening in real time, so that that's how he proves it. But usually you would get to see him do it. You would see him do the groundhog thing several times.
Yeah. I would love to say this movie works. I think it kind of doesn't. I like Gore Verbinski. That's where this starts. All right. I'm fine on Sam Rockwell. I like Juno Temple. Okay. Most of the rest of the cast I didn't know. Michael Pena, Zazie Beetz. Haley Lou Richardson is a nice inclusion here. I have not seen her in a big performance, so it's nice to see her here. Gore Verbinski has not done a film in like 9 years. His last movie was A Cure for Wellness in 2016, a horror starring Dane DeHaan, which you might remember is a mental asylum. Before that, he's got Lone Ranger in 2013, Rango in 2011, Pirates of the Caribbean, the first three, which is kind of his big claim to fame, right? Curse of the Black Pearl, Dead Man's Chest, Outworld's End. In between those films, he does The Weatherman, starring Nick Cage, which is okay. He's got The Ring in 2002, kind of a generational horror, albeit an adaptation, of course. And he also did a film in 97 called Mouse Hunt, which I have a particular fondness for. A lot of this man's filmography is really incredible. There's some really great work here. And so he hasn't done a film in 9 years. And I thought, this is big. This is saying something, and it's large, it's imaginative. Yeah, it looks a little bit like the Daniels Everything Everywhere All at Once. This could be something really special. Sam Rockwell's signed on. He's doing this big goofy character. It's about AI and technology and things coming at us. Like, it just feels prescient. It feels important. And I want to see what Gore Verbinski's working on, and it doesn't work. It's over 2 hours long. It's too long. Like Andy said, you kind of don't get enough of the loop. It's confusing because the world we are in Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die is not actually the world you and I and Andy all possess right now. And you find that out quickly. You start to dig into these characters. It starts to do kind of this, I don't know, like Tarantino-esque hopping around characters, a little like Reservoir Dogs, right? Like we get our cast and we're on our way, and then it cuts to black, and then it fades up on a name, and okay, then we're going to see 15 minutes of this person's backstory, and we're going to get 10 minutes on this person's backstory. And the backstories are good. They're kind of these little short stories, almost like short films for each character as we build up to like the journey through the night and trying to get where we need to go. But it just doesn't work. It's a very nihilistic script. It's very cynical. It's very like the world is ending and everything sucks. School shootings are happening every day and everyone's on their phone. Everyone's going to die and it's not fair. Like, just really aggressive. And that makes the tone a little too cross to be funny. Sam Rockwell does a good job trying to lift everybody as our man from the future. He's kind of our realist in the film. He's the one telling people what's what. Like, hey, this is the way it's going to be. If you go out that door right now, cops are going to shoot you. We go out this door, we'll get away. That stuff kind of works good, but then a lot of the backstory stuff is like dour and sad, and you don't feel good about it, and it feels a little bit too much like our real life. It's tonally all over the place. Yeah,
it has some really weird moments where there's like these giant animals that are I don't know, like genetically altered, and I was like, are we in an alternate timeline? Is this VR, or like it just kind of doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And again, it feels like a TV show. It looks like a TV show. All the money is definitely spent on the cast, which are doing the best they can, but it's just the premise is just, it's weak. And this would work if it was like a 90-minute idea, but it's 2 hours and 15 minutes. It's just like way too long for what it is, and none of it, again, it's supposed to be a satire like Black Mirror, and just none of it is really funny. None of the jokes land, and again, it just reminded me of a bunch of other better time travel things: Terminator, Looper, Groundhog Day, just things like that, and it just doesn't really work.
I said at the beginning of this review, this film came out last year. I was wrong. This came out in February, just about a month ago.
Last month.
It cost about $20 million to shoot before marketing. Made about $8.7 million at the box office. So the marketing didn't pull in enough people to keep them interested. And I think it's a bit high concept, at least on its face. Than actually watching the film, it's very high concept. Like Andy said, there are things that happen in the second, third act of this movie that are so bonkers, off the wall, don't make sense. That by the time you get to the end, it's supposed to feel like we have real stakes riding on this giant conflict. You don't. It all just feels kind of phony. And it's really not helped by the fact that Sam Rockwell is walking around with a button that can restart the movie at any time. And he just keeps saying the whole time, this is all meaningless to me. This isn't really going to, if this doesn't work out, I'll just reset. And it's like, well, maybe, I don't know, do it once or twice. You know what I mean? Take us with you. This survive the night kind of thing into this weird exploration of AI and technology is creative for sure. And Andy says it looks cheap. I thought it looked okay. There's a lot of it that looks cheap later. They go big on effects. For a $20 million budget, I'm impressed at how many effects are in this movie. And that means they got to be lean in a lot of parts. But big lighting, big color, big action. There's a couple shots of somebody blowing somebody away with a shotgun that are real good stuff. Like that's the Gore Verbinski who's been doing this for 30 years. You know what I mean? Like there's my man. There he is. But this is just a little too unhinged and a little too strange. And I think a little too outside the wheelhouse. Like you just end up driving people away. It does have this anti-AI message, which is really meaningful. It's probably going to make the thumbnail when we post this review by itself. But AI sucks. Like, unfortunately, is not super new. And the way they're telling us that is creative, but a little boring and just kind of dour and just doesn't, like, it's too cynical to feel meaningful.
Yeah, like I said, I don't have too much more to say about this. It just, the premise doesn't work. It reminds you of a million other better time travel movies. We needed to see some of these time travel loops and his, because he said this is the 117th time I've tried this, and there is a funny gag where a guy, he tries to give this big rousing speech, and one guy raises his hand. He's like, "No, not you. You mess it up every time. Sorry." It's not like that's there's a couple of good gags.
Yeah, it's a movie that, like, it starts strong, and as it keeps going and things get weirder, I feel like your interest wanes. Like somehow it doesn't bring you with, at least not me anyway. I know we should wrap this up. We meant for this to be a mini review. Shout out to Andy for actually watching it with me, so we could both talk about it. Andy, would you recommend Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die?
No, hard pass. Really didn't enjoy it. It's too long. It's a little boring. It looks like a TV show. It would make a better TV show, like an episodic thing. We do have a good cast. They're doing the best they can with what they have, but hard pass.
Yeah, it's a skip. I wanted to like this movie. I really did. I like Gore Verbinski. He's done some incredible films. This is not one of them. He took a nice long break, 9-year hiatus from filmmaking, came back with this. Great exercise into it. Not enough meat on the bone, man. Like, I think maybe a miniseries would be good. You could do something and break it up into a few parts, maybe do a small TV show, or do another film that's a little bit smaller with a script that I think is a little bit more tuned in. This Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die is just kind of cynical in a way that I think is challenging. It's violent, it's gory, it's goofy, it's a little fun if you're into it. Check out Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die on VOD if you're interested. Otherwise, Andy and I, this is probably all we got to say on it. We have one more film to talk about in this mega blowout episode. Very excited to get into this. Andy, check this out. I have not seen it, so it's a mini review courtesy of the good doctor himself. Andy, please take us away.
The Pope's Exorcist. So I was looking for some kind of cheesy, trashy B movie to watch with a friend, something that you can just kind of sit back and laugh at. This came up on, I think it's on HBO Max. This came out in 2023. Stars Russell Crowe as Father Gabriel Amort, who was a real life exorcist in the church and was very high up. Like personally knew the Pope. So it's based on a real person, and we get to see Russell Crowe on a Vespa, looking ridiculous, putting on a bad Italian accent. A family inherits an old abbey out in Italy, and they're looking to renovate and sell it. And in the course of the renovation, some sort of evil is unleashed. The son in this annoying family is possessed. They get Father Gabriel Amort out there to assist with it, and it's really it's like really bad effects. Like the dialogue makes you laugh, but it got really good the longer it went. I was really surprised because the lows are low, like you're laughing at everything on screen. Like it rushes the first act so fast, like it's trying to get to the good stuff, and so it just rushes everything in the first act. But then the second act comes around, and it starts to get really kind of good. Like they discover this secret room, and there's like a secret tunnel. Turns into the Goonies, and they're like, oh, and it reveals more about actually there's this larger conspiracy, and there's demons involved, and the effects start to be really really good. And again, but that'll be right next to like really bad effects or really cheesy lines. Russell Crowe's the biggest name in this, although I did want to point out the Pope is played by one Franco Nero, who, if you don't know, was the original Django from like the 60s, for which Django Unchained is kind of based on.
Oh, dang.
So he's 85, still acting, so he's the Pope. It's something to laugh at, but it also kind of drew me in towards the end because I was like, oh, there's like a real interesting mystery, and there's like a lot of, again, Catholic mysticism and mythology going on in this, and possession, and he partners with this young priest, and they kind of team up. That they both have tragic backstories. What's really funny is by the end, they try to definitely turn this into a franchise because they're like, well, there's 200 other sites that we need you guys to visit. And they team up like the Avengers, like the Catholic Avengers, that they're going to go and visit all these different sites and purge it of its evil. So it's a big laugh. It's 100 minutes. It's on HBO Max or whatever. So it's surprisingly a lot of fun.
I think it's funny. It sets up for a sequel. I went looking at the director of this movie, a director named Julius Avery. Believe it or not, we've actually covered their last film on this podcast. You know what it is?
I do not.
Just quiz you live. Samaritan, the Amazon Prime Sylvester Stallone movie. Yes. Yeah, which also, I remember watching that, and we kind of came out of this, and it's like, this movie looked like it was going to be terrible, and like, little bit had some juice. I was actually a little surprised in Act 2. Like, I kind of leaned in, not so bad. Like, Samaritan was decent. So I'm glad to hear this is kind of in the same space. Also for Julius Avery, one of their upcoming projects is the Tacoma Exorcism. I don't know if it's related to this franchise, but it's on IMDb, baby. Put it on the board. Might be getting more Russell Crowe Demon Slayer. And that's what I want to ask about. I think that's the thing bringing people to this movie, right? A, it's a horror, and B, it's got Russell Crowe in it. So I have been building a bit of a reputation online, or at least on the pod, for saying that Russell Crowe just plays the same like fat bearded man in every movie, right? He's a fat Nazi in Nuremberg. He's a fat exorcist in The Pope's Exorcist. And what's funny is when you told me you watched this, I confused this 2023 horror feature with a film Russell Crowe made in 2024 called The Exorcism, which is a different movie. And you told me you watched this, and I thought you were talking about that. The Exorcism, Russell Crowe plays a washed up actor who takes a role as a priest performing an exorcism in a movie, and then things start to go awry. This is not that movie. Like, I think there are probably many people
don't
like me who,
them.
Yeah, I don't think I'm the only one who mixed these up, man. I think there's probably many people who have mixed up these two films. Why is this better? Because just watching the trailer, I was like, oh, this is like all at the Vatican and like played straight. Like the other movie is kind of like a riff. This seems to be they're going for it. He's the Pope's exorcist.
Yeah, like I said, it gets a little bit more serious the longer it goes, and when they start discovering these secret rooms and secret tunnels, and it, has a little bit of that like the Omen vibe, where there's like some sort of long-standing conspiracy going on here that they have to try and uncover and purge. So yeah, it surprisingly just gets a lot better. The possession itself, like the family, are throwaways. Like you're here to just follow Russell Crowe and his sidekick do exorcism stuff, and that's the rub, and it really works pretty well, or better than I was expecting, anyways.
Yeah. Is there anybody else in this we'd know? I'm looking at the IMDb. I got Franco Nero, like you said, it was Django. I know in the trailer there's a kid who's possessed, like a young boy. I'm sure he's a prominent plot line in here, or is he just like a quick?
So he's a possessed boy. The voice though is by one Ralph Ineson, who was the voice of Galactus in the Fantastic Four, and also has done a lot of A24 work. He was the Green Knight. He's in The Witch. Incredible voice. So I think this is largely a European production because it's in Italy. It's primarily European, I think, and I don't know any of these actors, so I think they're small-time actors from over there, if that makes any sense.
I think we just talked about Undertone on the pod, and like one of the things I think that really hurt that movie was its setting. It's just set in a place and time in this protagonist's life when things are just dour and bad and they're alone. This is a good example, I think, of how like maybe a middling script can be elevated by a great setting. Like, put me in the catacombs, baby. Who knows what I'm going to find around the next corner, And like that sets up so much, seed bed for like great storytelling or big surprises. A lot of good scares, I think. A lot of good turns, big surprises, things you didn't expect.
It's not really scary at all. It's one of those things where like the scares just kind of make you laugh. His sidekick kind of gets thrown against a wall numerous times by like the possessing demon, which just kind of cracks me up. Like again, it's stealing from lots of better movies, so it's not scary. Like I said, it's a fun thing to like sit and kind of laugh at.
Well, that's that kind of my final question here. Are we cheering for Russell Crowe or are we laughing at Russell Crowe? Because yeah, it could be both. It could be a little column A, little column B. But like, what are you feeling watching this movie?
So it was a little of both. I started out laughing at him, laughing at the situation, laughing at our characters, but then it kind of gets really interesting. Like I said, turns into this Indiana Jones Goonies thing with them unearthing all this stuff under the abbey that they're at. A lot of it's just ridiculous, but it has some really good effects towards the end, and I was kind of surprised. So it got better the longer it went.
What's the runtime? Do you remember?
100 minutes.
All right, and it's on all right, pretty good quick burn, and it's on HBO Max for anybody who wants to check it out. Andy, would you recommend The Pope's Exorcist?
Definitely for horror heads. I think they'd enjoy it, get a good laugh out of it. If you're looking for something silly and kind of lighthearted to watch, it's not a kids movie though. It is like a rated R movie. It does have like some violent stuff or more intense stuff, so it's definitely not for kids. But it's an easy, quick watch if you're a fan of horror movies, possession movies, Russell Crowe, and you want to see what he's doing in his older age. Be fine to check out for free on streaming.
I love it. I've been riffing on Crowe. I'm glad he's putting out something that's good. I should say for Nuremberg, like for the performances I've seen him in, even though I'm riffing on him being just, kind of a fat actor, he's very good. He's the best part of Nuremberg. I'd imagine he's the best part of this movie. Shout out Crowe. Keep at it, man. I need to back off on the being mean to the poor man, but there's nothing poor about him. He's doing great. Incredible episode. All right, episode 330 of Off Script. We covered the Oscars. We covered Undertone. Good luck, have fun, don't die. The Pope's Exorcist. Wall-to-wall blowout. And we make content like this every single week. And the best way to get it is just subscribe to the channel. But before I get to subscriptions and recommends and notification bells, Andy, what are we watching next week?
So we're going to be taking a look at Project Hail Mary, which is the new Ryan Gosling sci-fi feature based on a novel by Andy Weir, who previously did The Martian. That's going to be a lot of fun. We're seeing that this Thursday in IMAX. That's going to be a big blowout. It's probably the first big movie of the year. We're also going to be taking a look at Ready or Not 2, Here I Come, which is the sequel to Ready or Not, which was the Samara Weaving starring kind of horror comedy satire, which is also starring upcoming horror queen Catherine Newton, who joins her as her sister. This is going to be a lot of fun as well. These are both theatricals. And I also wanted to shout out an FYI release to Peaky Blinders, The Immortal Man, which is the film based on that series. I've never watched Peaky Blinders, but a lot of people are excited about that. That comes out also this Friday, March 20th on Netflix. But for next week, Project Hail Mary and Ready or Not 2.
Yes, very excited for Hail Mary. I read the book by Andy Weir. Andy has not, so the two of us are going to have a good conversation about it. Whether or not it's a good adaptation, whether or not it's a good movie. I've seen the scores on Rotten, man. It looks like it's going to be one of the best of the summer, potentially the year. So please come back for our Hail Mary review. As for Ready or Not 2, I remember thinking Ready or Not 1 was going to be a snooze fest. It's original horror. It's just kind of a woman running around a house. No, delightful. That movie's cool. And I'm very excited to watch Ready Player 2. Ready or Not 2, Catherine Newton's delightful. I think it's going to be a hit. If you want to check out our review next week, if you want to see other reviews we've done, keep up with our stuff on the channel, best way to do it is just subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can subscribe to us anywhere you get your podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, iHeartMedia, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, where you're doing social media. Come like, come follow, come comment, come subscribe, come be a part of this off-script thing we're doing. Things are working out, guys. Things are working out. I'm telling you, all this hard work is starting to pay off, and I'm very excited to see what's next for the show. So from all of us at Off-Script, the home of bold cinema, I'm Zach Lewis.
And I'm Dr. Draper.
Thanks for watching.